Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Amazing Race Rewind podcast, a podcast where we rewind back in time to watch the earliest seasons of The Amazing Race for the first time. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Jill.
And we're here with Season 3, Episode 8 of The Amazing Race. Jill, how are you feeling about this episode?
I just have to say, it feels so crazy that we're already at Episode 8. You know, it feels like we just started Season 3. And I can't quite believe we're already at Season 8, Episode 8. It feels so early still.
Yeah, I agree. And not only are we on Episode 8, but we are at the final 5. Like, it feels crazy that we only have 5 teams left. And the thing is, these teams, to me, they don't feel like Final 5 material.
No, I mean,
if I can speak my truth.
One of my picks is still in there. So, you know, maybe I'll get lucky with that. But I think that the good thing about them all not feeling like Final 5 material is that I genuinely don't know who's going to win. It could genuinely be any of these teams. And I would be surprised, and I also wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like, for instance, Derek and Drew, we thought were out the first episode, or episode 2, and they were going toe-to-toe with Ken and Gerard to go for the fast forward to try and not be eliminated in episode 1. And both of those teams are still there. Terry and Ian, the oldest team, are still here. They're fighting. And John, Vito, and Jill are nobody. Oh! That's probably not nice to say. They're people, and they got a little. We saw more of them this episode.
They still just haven't been established as characters. But I think it's just, we've said before, they're so normal, like in a good way.
Yeah, we did see more of them this episode, which was nice. But I guess they kind of have to show more of them because there are only 5 teams. But overall, in general, I thought this episode was a lot of fun. Like, it was very lighthearted. This episode felt like a genuine family show where you sit down, you have a laugh.
A genuine?
Did I say that?
Genuine?
A genuine?
You really put the zhuzh on the genuine.
Well, whatever. But it's just like, you sit down, you watch this episode, you have a laugh, you're entertained, and then you go to bed in a good mood. And I don't think we could say that for episodes last season.
That is true. Episodes last season, whenever we would watch, it was always like, okay, like, it was heavy. You had to really, especially that finale, like, it was so physically exhausting for me to lay in bed and watch that episode.
The worst, it was physically exhausting for me to lay in bed
and watch that episode.
Yeah.
Whereas these are just like, not that I didn't look forward to last week's episode or last season's episodes, but these just feel so easy to watch.
No, it's just like such a tonal shift from last season, and also you can kind of feel it picking up here as we're nearing the end, and with Phil doing his what am I saying? And Phil doing his introductions and like little bios of each of the teams here at the beginning of the episode.
Exactly.
And we're definitely like moving into the end game.
Final 5, baby, as somebody says.
And yeah, overall this episode, I think the ending was a little bit drawn out, although it was exciting. Like, do we really need to spend 12 minutes of running to the pit stop?
I'll admit, I did get tired of that.
Yeah, especially since we kind of knew that this was going to be a non-elimination. Because we've been waiting for one, and we knew they'd like to do it around this time.
I know, and it's a spoiler alert, but it's one of 3. How can we have 3 non-eliminations? Like, what, are they going to be back to back to back?
I don't understand, because this is episode 8 of 11, and we have 5 teams, so that doesn't make any sense.
Unless they do some, like, really weird. Do you remember how they kind of did, like, mini legs last time, where they almost tacked one leg on, like, into 2 episodes because it was so short?
They'll probably do something like that again, is what I would assume, because we just don't have the episode space to do this when we only have 3 episodes left of the season, which is crazy.
Again, that's crazy. It does not feel real.
We have 3 episodes left, and 2 of which are supposed to be non-eliminations, and then we're supposed to somehow get down to a final 3 and crown a winner within that. We don't have the time. Unless
when they're saying non-elimination, it's because they do the finale in 2 parts, so they count the finale, like this first part of the finale, as a non-elimination leg. I don't know. We will see, I guess.
And another hint that we get that it's a non-elimination is usually when Phil's going through his recap, he says at the end, who will be eliminated tonight? He says, who will be eliminated next? It's like, okay.
You're getting us, Phil.
Yeah, you really let us know there. But we're starting here at the Sleeping Beauty Castle of the Bavarian Alps, and teams are drinking beer And I don't remember what are those jugs called? Like the kind of giant Oktoberfest jugs. What are those called?
Oktoberfest beer glass.
I don't even know if it's Oktoberfest as much as it's just German. It's like stereotypically German. Like extra large, fit a whole 2 liters of beer in there.
A Bierkrug. Bierkrug. Beer steins.
Oh, a stein is what it is. A stein, yeah.
We call them beer steins, yeah.
Okay, yes. I knew there was a name for it. But they're drinking out of their steins, and we see flirtation between Drew and Flo. And I'm shocked.
Called it.
Well, you knew.
Well, I didn't call it. I had watched ahead.
This was so out of left field for me.
I will say, it's like so, I don't want to say stereotypical, but it's so similar to the parallel of last season where like the team of the two guys, the team of like the two like sort of conventionally good looking guys, one of them and the girl who's in the like slightly
dysfunctional relationship,
yelly, chaotic relationship.
There's something about that dynamic. But this is kind of a thread that was drawn throughout the entire episode. And the whole time, it was always very lighthearted. Like, I feel like it could have been very dark if we focused on, like, how, like, bad this is for Zach, because maybe, like, Zach has feelings for Flo, but it was all just kind of, like, playful, and the other teams were poking fun at this. But it was an entertaining aspect of this episode, this whole narrative.
No, yeah, I will agree. I feel so proud, like, I feel like I should be able to say called it. But I was not that intuitive. I did read ahead.
Yeah, I definitely did not call it. But Flo and Zach are the first to depart, and they're told to drive to a nearby farm for a giant stack of hay for their clue, and they're using the same cars from the last leg. And this is where we see Flo is talking about the relationship. She says, this is like the first time she explicitly talks about their relationship in this way. She says that it's undefined and that other teams can't figure us out and we can't figure each other out.
Which, is that a good thing? I mean, again, personal preference, you have to do what works for you. But it would freak me out, like, to go on a race like this and to say, like, well, I don't really know how to define my relationship with my partner.
Yeah, it's very strange, especially because I thought, like, I just assumed that they were dating now because she had the quote about the Amazing Race being one long date and how he's marrying material and this and that, and we're still on the fence.
I really don't know what else to say. Like, the fence is still there.
Yeah, the fence is, it's up. They go to the haystack, and Flo says, ew, I don't want to touch this, referring to hay.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, it's not like they have to sift through manure.
No, but I feel like that's also, like, it shows that you and I grew up on a farm that way. Like...
Please.
It's
but still, it's just like...
Like, it can be itchy, but it's not gross.
Yeah, with it.
Like, the only thing is, if you're sensitive to that stuff, it can just kind of be itchy. Also, it is funny, because originally I was thinking, like, oh, man, like, that's kind of a fun task, but it could take a while. Like, what if these clues are really buried deep? Because she just kind of, like, starts taking little handfuls off the side of the base and, like, throwing them away. And Zach gets the brilliant idea to climb on top, where I guess all the clues are.
He climbs to the top and just grabs one and just, like, digs a little bit. Oh, there it is. So not a lot going on there. And then from there, they're told to take a ferry to Switzerland and go to Rheinfall, which is the largest waterfall in Europe. And for the largest...
Which I didn't know about.
Yeah, and for the largest waterfall in Europe, this didn't seem to be very big.
Well, let's get a little bit of a comparison, okay?
Like, maybe it was long, like, because they just said biggest.
150 meters wide and 23 meters tall.
Because from the...
Whereas Niagara is about 50 meters tall. Yeah, okay, so the American Falls are 320 meters wide, and then the Horseshoe Falls, where's their width? Doesn't give me their width, which is really helpful. Yeah, I don't know, but basically not super impressive.
Yeah, I thought Europe would have some better waterfalls than this. I mean, it's very nice.
You know what? They get everything. So let us have the waterfalls, okay?
Yeah.
No, we don't have what is the tallest waterfall in the world?
Europe might rank last for best waterfall per continent. Maybe second last, because I can't imagine Antarctica having anything crazy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Angel Falls. I knew that one. It's in Venezuela. 979 meters tall.
Yeah, but Europe, don't go there if you love waterfalls.
Yeah, let's see. Most of these are... Oh, but no, Norway has some that are the tallest. But they're like really tiny little... Like, they're not... It's like a single shoot of water.
Yeah, that's not real. Okay, well, anyway... We've been doing a lot of Googling this episode already, but They have to go to the Rhinefall, but we see the twins and John, Vito, and Jill are departing, and as well as Ian and Terry. And Ian and Terry have a quote here where they're saying that they've been trying to get rid of us since the beginning. And it's like, have they though? I don't think people have been targeting Ian and Terry per se.
No, I mean, especially, I don't know if you can say that, especially with the whole We Hate the Twins movement.
But the whole We Hate the Twins movement, and also, that's what the game is that they're trying to get rid of everybody.
But you know what? Say whatever you need to say in order to motivate yourself.
In order to motivate yourself, and it sounds good for TV that they've been trying to get rid of us from the beginning. Everybody hates us. We're the underdogs, but we're
you're going to get screen time when you start like spewing off those lines.
Yeah, when you give the camera the dramatics, absolutely. Okay, and here we have a little bit of drama where the twins and John, Vito, and Jill, they go to the haystack and they find their clues, and then on their way to the ferry, they pass Ian and Terry, and Ian and Terry are asking, "Oh, where is it?" And they say that both teams tell Ian and Terry that they're still looking and that they can't find it.
I think is it Jill who has the quote who says, "I love being deceitful." And I mean, the thing is, it's funny, but they're definitely like, this is the least deceitful thing that you could do. It's not like you've sabotaged them. It's not like it's just like, I don't know where it is. And they think they've pulled such an incredible prank.
Yeah, I loved to see this. It was like, because this is like, these teams think that they were being just like so incredibly foul.
They think they've been masterminds.
Yeah. But they were just like, no, we're still looking for it. And then Ian and Terry quickly realized that, oh, it's right here. And they were lying to us, which creates some bad blood. And Terry immediately just walks up to the haystack, finds one, and then leaves. Like, they're at this task for a whole of 2 seconds.
Which I guess makes sense, because usually that, like, first clue that you get to on the race isn't supposed to be difficult. Like, it's just supposed to be there.
Yeah, but I would expect at least a little bit of digging, like a couple minutes. She just walked in, plucked it out, and left.
But again, all they did is swap out a clue box for a haystack, so they can't make it that difficult.
Yeah, but this was unconscionable to me.
It was very underwhelming.
Yeah, Ken and Gerard are going at 2:42 a.m. And last, and they put like the team. They wrote Team O Brother in their lower third, because it's like Ken and Gerard, Team O Brother, and then Brothers, which I don't think they've ever done that before.
I know, they randomly decided, it's like Team 911 didn't pop up till what, like episode 5?
Yeah, but they've been liking to do that, I guess, and I thought it was funny. And they're talking about how,
I think the editors are finally like, because they do that with Team Guido? Did they ever write Team Guido?
I don't think they did.
I think they always wrote Bill and Joe, so it's just weird.
Maybe they did put Team Guido. I feel like they must have, because that would have been confusing to viewers who didn't know what they were referring to when people were saying Team Guido.
But if there's anything about The Amazing Race that we know, it's that there's a lot of inconsistency in those lower thirds.
But yeah, Ken and Gerard are on their way, and they're talking about how their alliance with the Wonder Twins, Derek and Drew, is over. And I said, fair enough. With 5 teams left, that's fair.
Yeah, all the teams, needle in a haystack task, whatever, relatively easy. And they're all on the same ferry. It is a completely level playing field. They were all on the exact same ferry into Switzerland.
Yeah, and this was something that made this episode so fun, was that all 5 of these teams were with each other the entire leg, which made for a lot of fun interactions, and we got to see how the teams interacted with each other, and I thought it was great.
It was, yeah. Nothing really happens on the boat, but when they get to...
So teams go to Rhinefall. Yeah, teams go to Rhinefall. They're all on the same train. John, Vito, and Jill get put behind slightly here because they aren't able to get a taxi to Rhinefall after getting off the train. And all the teams get to the falls, and they see the Amazing Race flag that is just on an island in the middle of the falls, which they then deduce that they need to take a boat to it.
Yes, right. So there's the route marker on top of the Rhinefall. And now this is where some of the teams get tripped up. As you mentioned, John, Vito, and Jill are behind. So other teams, they get on the boat, both of them get off the boat, and the boat pulls away so another can dock. And then one or both team members run up, they get the clue, they open it, they come back down, and they realize that because they've left their bags on another boat, which is now pulled away, they have to wait for that boat to pull in. While all this is happening, John Vito and Jill come in last, and they make the decision that Jill is going to stay on the boat with the bags so that the boat is held there, and John Vito's going to run up, grab the clue, run back down. And I mean, honestly, well played on John Vito and Jill's part. Well played, because it bumps them from last to first.
Yeah, first of all, the whole scene of the teams, like, because the big group of the 4 teams they're like deciding if they're going to take the boats off of them, and then they go up, and then it's just like, they love to do these ominous shots of just like the boat slowly leaving with their bags. So that was very well done. And also, when Jill was just waiting there, because all 4 teams, they had already gotten their clue, but they were waiting for the boat with their bags to come back. But
they're just it's just this weird silent standoff.
They're just like standing there staring at Jill seething. And
but it's like, don't get mad when you weren't creative enough to come up with a solution, you know?
Yeah, it was really great by Jill and John Vito for them to do this. And then doing this puts John Vito and Jill in the lead.
Again, don't get mad if you didn't think of something.
Yeah, but it was just so funny to see all 4 of these teams just like stand there awkwardly while Jill is waiting. It's like,
But it, like we said, it serves them well, and they get bumped up to first, and they are now headed to Zurich, correct?
Yeah. Yes. So teams are told to go to the capital city and find Lindenhof, which is where the next clue is, in an underground vault. We see John Vito and Jill go to the central station via a bus to get to Zurich, and the other teams go to the Rheinfall station to get to Zurich. And we see all the teams, they're kind of like congregating, they're all making conversation. And Ken and Gerard are talking about, so, like, what do we think about John Vito and Jill? And this, like, just exemplifies how tight-knit this cast is, and, like, how little animosity there is between these teams. Like, they're all joking around together and just having a good time.
If this was season 2 and the teams were bunched up in a pack like that, this would not, like, nothing remotely close to this would be happening.
No. I don't think any of those teams were friends. So even though John Vito and Jill went to a central station, they do all end up on the same train anyway, which is great for us because that means all the teams are still bunched up and running this leg together.
Yeah, it is nice. Again, no one really gets that much of a lead, so it's kept pretty interesting the whole time.
Yeah, so we see this relationship here between Ken and Flo, where they're kind of like joking around about like, oh, how they're gonna like date after the show. And then Ken and Gerard, they get into asking Flo about what the deal is with Zach.
And we'd love to see this.
And she's like, I don't know. And then they're like, well, what about Drew? And she's like, well, I don't know. And they're like, oh, well, you're probably into him.
They're here for the drama. They're here for the tea. And honestly, why not? You're living a reality show. You might as well.
And it's like, yeah, I love to see this. This makes me smile. Like, it's a total 180. Like, we keep saying this from last season, total 180. And there's something to be said about drama and tension in reality TV is great, but this is fun. And we like to have fun.
Exactly. There's no malice. It's not bitter. It's just good old lighthearted fun.
Okay, so we get to Zurich, and they go to the underground bunker, and we get to the detour, which, by the way, I loved this detour.
It was very good, I have to say. It was really good.
So the detour options are between count the money or run the numbers.
And so for count the money, they're basically given a small fishbowl size jar of coins and bills or whatever, and they have to count up the amount of money there is, and the total will give them a number that unlocks a six-digit number that unlocks a safe, because Switzerland is known for its banks and vaults and whatnot. The other one is run the numbers, which a bunch of numbers are scattered all throughout kind of the local areas outside this vault. They're in different forms, like count the numbers on this clock, go to this statue and see what number is on it, count the number of red bands around these trees. And those numbers in sequences of 2, like, 12 for the first one, 50 for this one, will give them the number for the vault as well.
Yeah. So between these two, I'm running the numbers, absolutely. And we see We see Ken and Gerard start with the counting one, but the thing is, with the counting, is this jar of coins is so large, and the amount of coins that they have to sift through is ridiculous.
I think when the task was initially described, I went, oh, count the numbers. Easy. But then I saw them, like, they had so many little piles of coins that I'm like, yeah, running the numbers would just be so much easier.
It was ridiculous. And the thing is also with the counting is there's so much room for error because you can count it several times and get like different answers every single time, and you don't know what you're doing wrong.
Do that. You can do that with the other one too, but I think the thing with the other one is you're counting 3 things essentially. You're going to the statue, you're counting tree. You have less margin for error. So yeah, definitely doing run the numbers.
Yeah, but it was a really great creative detour, and there was the tie with like the Swiss banks thing and how they're well known like internationally for their banking system. And it was kind of like, I love a scavenger hunt / puzzle ordeal. It was kind of giving escape room.
And if you guys know, actually, I don't know if we've talked about this really enough. Andrew and I are escape room fiends. Well, we adore an amazing escape room. And like, everyone thinks they've been to a good escape room, but like they don't know what they're talking about. We've been to some amazing escape rooms. Like I've had people say like, "Oh, I went to this one escape room and it was so good." And then I see photos, I'm like, oh, please.
And the thing is like sometimes when I'm looking to do an escape room and I go online to read the reviews, like you can never trust the reviews because people don't know what a good escape room is.
That's the thing. They'll be like, "Oh, this place is amazing. It's like so good." And then you go, or sometimes, honestly, we went to one where the production quality was pretty there, and then the actual escape room itself was like like we're also just really good. Like I'm not bragging, we are just really good. But we got out in 20 minutes. So
I love it. We sound so like pompous and
if escape rooming was an Olympic sport, we could do it.
Well, maybe. I mean, we've never gotten on the leaderboard.
That's a lie. Speed bump.
Oh, okay, yes, we did get on the leaderboard before.
Also, we completed a 12-person escape room, like a 12 to 14-person escape room with 5 people.
Yeah, we did. So, yes, we are pretty good at escape rooms, and this is escape room-esque. So it's right up our alley.
And like we said, all the teams choose run the numbers except for Ken and Gerard, and they quickly switch.
Yeah, so Ken and Gerard are starting to count these coins, and then we have this really great confessional where Gerard goes abort, and then it cuts to the interview, and Ken is saying, all of a sudden Gerard goes, abort, as if this is some sort of space mission. And to me, I thought this would be us. I feel like we would do something like that, where we would like start something and be like, abort, and just leave.
I think we would just say that. Like, I wouldn't be like, Andrew, I'd like, okay, can you picture me going, Andrew, I don't know if we should continue doing this. It would be me going, no, let's go. Stop it.
Yeah. And they abort quite quickly.
They do. And they're running the numbers with everyone else. There are a couple margins for error. Like we said, the first task is this number on a statue. Another task is the amount of red bands around a tree, which I think is 50, and a lot of teams messed that up the first time.
Yeah.
But the one that killed me was add up all the numbers on the clock. And the clock is a standard 12-number clock. Teams struggle to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, etc. to 12.
Yeah, I think it was particularly Drew and Zach were really struggling with this one.
Jill got close. Like, she was, 2 numbers off. Like, I think she just messed up because she was doing it in her head. It astounded me how many teams struggled to add 1 through 12 together.
Yeah, but it was a great task to see teams run around and try and solve these puzzles and struggle to add up 1 through 12. But, yeah, and also to see them all doing it at the same time. Made for some nice competitiveness. And so John, Vito, and Jill do get it first, followed by the twins, and then Flo and Zach, and then Ian and Terry, and then Ken and Gerard are... No. Ken and Gerard get it fourth, and Terry and Ian get it last.
Yes, and we find out that they now have to go to Grindelwald, Switzerland, which Andrew has quite a personal connection to, so I was
so excited that we're going to Grindelwald, Switzerland, which is 120 miles away, because guess what, folks? I have been to Grindelwald, Switzerland, and not only have I been to Grindelwald, Switzerland, it is maybe my favorite place that I've ever been.
Wow.
My day I spent there was one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
So I was very pleased to learn that we're going to Grindelwald, a place that I have fond memories in.
Near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, and it's also fun to just like, because I've up to this point I've never been to any of the places that The Amazing Race has been from seasons 1 through 3. So this was nice and fun to see them in a place where I've actually traveled before, and like being able to see places and be like, oh yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah. But John, Vito, and Jill, they barely missed the train to Grindelwald, which would have put them an hour ahead. But all the teams... Okay, also, this is crazy. Ken and Gerard are walking on the street, and Gerard is walking like pretty much in the middle of a train track and nearly dies by walking in front of a train.
I don't have a comment for that other than just, why would you do that?
Yeah, but all the teams end up in Grindelwald at the same time, and I was excited because I recognized the scenic shots, the train, the buildings, everything. But Derek and Drew get to the clue box first, and we get to the roadblock.
Yes, and supposedly this is based off of an old, I don't know, folk tale, children's tale. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's the Peer Gynt one, is it?
William Tell.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I always say Peer Gynt because William Tell Overture. For some reason, I get them mixed. Oh, because William Tell Overture is part of the Peer Gynt suite, which we played in band. I think that's why I get it mixed up.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, it's based on the William Tell story, and the task is, well, the story talks about shooting an apple off a child's head with a bow and arrow. And here, Phil says that the contestants will have to shoot an apple off a child's head, but he specifies that the child is a mannequin. It is not, in fact, a real child. But I love that it was specified. He goes, in this case, the child is a mannequin.
Just like they have to specify that the Kodak EasyShare camera is for after the race.
Exactly. They're all about their specifications.
We love to specify. But I have to point out that this task was reused on The Amazing Race season 31.
In Grindelwald?
In Grindelwald, yeah. So the
Wow.
Amazing Race, I haven't seen actually many modern Amazing Race seasons. However, I have seen The Amazing Race season 31, and I remembered this task, and it was the exact same one.
Imagine that the world is so small. They're recycling tasks now.
Yes, of course. But the prompt was, this person should have to be willing to take a shot at success.
So based on that, what are you and I doing?
It's very vague, but based on take a shot, I know you have experience with bow and arrow and things of that sort. I don't. So
I'm not an awful shot. However, I'm not totally used to the bows they were using.
They're using crossbows, yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to just very standard longbows. I'm like, the thing is, they all figure it out. Like, and it's very easy because you just adjust. Like, it's like anything. You shoot, you realize how much you overshot by and like how much you need to like adjust for to get back to your target, and you figure it out. And some of them don't even hit the apple. Some just hit the mannequin and the apple falls off.
Did that really? I thought they did hit the apple.
No, like one hit the mannequin in the head and it jostled the mannequin enough that the apple fell, and they counted it.
Oh, that's strange. But no, I remember this task on The Amazing Race 31 being a lot more challenging. Like maybe they were farther away or the apple was smaller or something, but I think teams struggled with this a lot more than they did at this episode, because teams moved through this very quickly. Like it only seemed to take a couple shots for each team.
Yeah, they flew through it, which then again led to a foot race to the pit stop, honestly.
Yeah, that took about half the episode. But it was kind of a fun roadblock to have all the teams there at the same time for. So it's like there's more
stakes,
anticipation there, and stakes, yeah. But Zach does get it first, and he is told to go to the Chalet Arnica in Grindelwald. And they say something about it being iconic or something, and I'm saying I don't think it can be that iconic because, one, I didn't go there. Two,
well, look at it. We got
none of the locals that John Vito
Switzerland connoisseur over here.
Of course, none of the locals that John, Vito, and Jill asked seemed to know where it was, And 3, when I searched it up online, I was getting crickets.
I too am getting crickets.
Yeah, crickets for Gary.
I'm getting SwissAlpsHotel.net, House Charlotte Arnica apartment.
That's not real.
It's literally just a hotel.
But it didn't seem like a hotel on the episode. It seemed like an actual, like, I don't know.
Oh, wait, literally one of them served as a pit stop on Amazing Race. That's literally just a webpage.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, that's the only thing iconic about it.
It's fairly close-ish to this, and they all end up in a race, except for...
So everybody finishes the roadblock, but John Vito is the last one because he has to shoot left-handed because he can't close his one eye, but he does eventually get it. And then all the teams are making their way to the pit stop, which is a long search. And the thing is about Grindelwald is that it's very hilly terrain.
Well, it's Switzerland.
Well, of course. And teams are having to do a lot of hiking uphill, which really takes them out, especially Flo, who is whining.
She is about to die and is about to pass out, so Zach takes her bags, and then instantly she's like, come on, like, you're slow, come on.
Which just kills me. Yeah, and Zach's like, are you serious?
I know, and then Ken and Gerard abandon walking on paths and just decide to cut through fields and whatever.
Well, sure, we gotta hop the fence. And
I love the reference. Season 1 reference.
Another thing of note is that Ian is yelling at Terry, saying, come on, Terry, hump it. And Ken and Gerard mocks this, saying, quote, he was just supporting her, hump it, like she's a cattle.
They bring such good comedy to the show.
They really do. And Ken and Gerard, they get a florist to draw a map for them of where to go. People cannot find this chalet for the life of them. It's like hidden.
I mean, if anything, like, look at how much trouble we're having finding it on Google in 2024. Why on earth are they supposed to be able to find it?
That's very true. That's a good point. And also, Terry's pants are falling down, and Ian was losing.
That gives us the episode title of, what is it? I don't care that your pants are falling down. This is more important.
Yeah.
This is more important than your pants falling down.
Your pants falling down while you're running is not, like, I feel like that'll, like, pulling up your pants is going to help you in your running. Yeah. So, okay, Derek and Drew do end up in first. And as per usual, they win. Drum roll.
Kodak Easy Share cameras.
But, okay, so did they already win one of these or no?
That's my question. Like, at some point, somebody is going to win these twice. And then they're just going to have 4 cameras.
It's like, okay, sure. I'm sure maybe Kodak Easy Share digital cameras were all the rage back in the day.
I don't know, but like, they can't.
You could have given it to their
They
family.
can't have been that much of a rage, you know?
I guess so. But Flo and Zach, despite Flo's complaints, are in second. And by the way, this whole scene is like so drawn out. It's so long, although it is tense. But it's like the intensity is watered down by the fact that we know it's a non-elimination.
That's it. It's like, although it's a really intense foot race, who cares? They're like, no one's going to be eliminated.
Tara and Ian end up in third. And we have a quote here where Ian says, we're old but bold.
They're really trying with these lines this time around. They're really trying to get the screen time.
I know. Ken and Gerard run into some goats on their off-roading adventure.
It's so good.
And they say, oh no, there's goats. How do we get by the goats? And then Gerard knocks the fence down.
Like, they're really just leaving a path of destruction through Switzerland.
I remember when I was in Grindelwald.
Oh my god. You really are just like that kid referencing, like when I was on my gap year, when I took my gap year.
Of course. Well, maybe if you went to Grindelwald, you would be the same.
Andrew, if I could, I would go to Grindelwald, okay?
I was walking back to Grindelwald from my hike, and I was walking by these goats, and it was like the same sort of deal, except I was not among the goats. They were fenced off, but they just started bawling at me, and they charged. They were like all came at me in a herd, but like the fence contained them, but it was scary.
I would love to have seen that. That just sounds so silly.
Yeah. So the Grindelwald goats are no joke, let me tell you.
That's the episode title. The Grindelwald goats are no joke.
Well, yeah. So Ken and Gerard run into goats, and I sympathize.
You felt, see, as someone who had a goat as a pet, goats, they're just, if you just don't mess with the horns and you'll be fine, you know, as long as you don't get impaled.
Or knock the fence down or something. But there's a frantic foot race. So now it's between Ken and Gerard and John, Vito, and Jill. And it's a very narrow finish. It's like they show this like cool wide shot where you can see both teams coming in.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
Directions.
Yeah, I liked that.
It was really cool. But we ultimately do see Ken and Gerard come out on top and end up in fourth place. However, John, Vito, and Jill, who arrive seconds after, learn that it is a non-elimination leg and that they are safe.
One of three non-elimination legs. It's crazy.
Yeah, which I really don't understand how that is possible.
Yeah, but nonetheless, that concludes the episode, and yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think I wasn't like if John, Vito, and Jill got eliminated here, I don't think I would be crying. I wouldn't be that sad. Like of the teams that are left, I would be fine to see them leave
because we just still don't know a lot about them.
But that is the episode, and as we said last week, we were starting a new segment, the Amazing Race Rewind segment. However, we do regret to inform you that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot here.
Yes, so I don't know if we've mentioned this before. I don't know if you guys are able to tell. A lot of these episodes are actually, we record either two in one. So, you know, for example, right now we're doing a 7 and 8 run. 5 and 6 were recorded on the same day, 3 and 4. So in the past, it's worked fine. However, we've run into some issues here because our segment, I say last week, the segment we recorded about an hour ago where we said, oh, we'll talk about something that happens in our week where we use the Amazing Race mindset. We haven't progressed any further than we did in the episode that you guys heard last week. We're an hour later.
We don't have anything
new. So all I recommend is go over to BuzzFeed and look for the Would You Win the Amazing Race quiz. And we'll be back with some new content next week.
Next week for our Amazing Race Mindset segment. But in the meantime, you can let us know how you've been utilizing the Amazing Race Mindset at our email at amazingracerewind@gmail.com or on our Instagram at Amazing Race Rewind, where we also post highlight clips.
Yeah. Talk to us. And also just looking at next week, the only thing I have is that there's tension and bungee jumping. Makes for a great episode.
Sure. Yeah. But that's all we have for this week. And we'll see you next week.
See you. Bye.
Bye.